As cyclists, I'm sure we've all had very mixed experiences while being out and about on the bike. Some days it's been absolutely fantastic. The sun's been shining, the wind's been at our back, and life couldn't be any better. But then other days it's been not so great. It's rained, we've had mechanicals, we've been chased by creepy clowns, and we've punctured. I'm sure we've all been there. But what do we need to do to make sure that we have more of the great days and less of the not so great days? As much as I hate reducing complex issues into pithy magic formulas, I'm going to do just that and reduce the key to having a great day on the bike into one such pithy magic formula. And it really is very simple. All you need to do is minimize stress, maximize enjoyment, and give yourself a sense of achievement. And if you can do that, you'll have an absolutely fantastic day on the bike. One of the major forms of stress while actually out on a ride can be the bike itself. It may be making some weird noises, or worse still, you could have a mechanical halfway round. If that happens, then you are guaranteed to have a bad day on the bike. But reducing that stress can be very simple, and all you need to do is do some basic maintenance yourself on the bike at home fairly regularly, so that when you do go out on the bike, you're fairly confident that it's all going to work perfectly. Basic bike maintenance isn't rocket science, and it doesn't have to be overly complicated. In fact, all you really need to do is take care of a few basic maintenance issues and the bike will be pretty much roadworthy all the time. If you don't know what those basic tasks are, I have a playlist with them all in and how to complete them, and I'll leave a link in the description below. The other kind of bike maintenance related issue that could potentially spoil your ride is of course a puncture. But unfortunately there's no real way of avoiding that, unless maybe you're running tubeless, in which case it's not going to be 100% guaranteed. All you can do is make sure that you know how to fix a flat by the side of the road and you have all of the appropriate equipment with you. So things like a couple of spare tubes, tyre levers and a patch repair kit. The next thing I would suggest to make your ride great is to give it some sort of purpose. Now, if you're not riding for transport, rides generally fall into two very broad categories. You're riding for fitness or you're riding for fun. If you're riding for fitness, maybe assign some numbers to it. So hitting particular targets such as distance, speed, heart rate, cadence, etc. And if you're riding for fun, then maybe leave the computer at home. Once you've decided what sort of ride you want to do, it's a good idea to plan your ride accordingly. So again, if you're riding for fitness and say you want to do some hill workouts, then you'll obviously need to include some hills on that route. Alternatively, if you're riding for fun, then your route will be based on nice scenery and maybe even visiting some sort of point of interest. When you are planning your route, try not to be too rigid about it though, and give yourself the option to cut it short if you're not enjoying it, and similarly to be able to extend the route if you are enjoying it. Planning also has the advantage of reducing a couple of other stress factors, like getting lost and riding in traffic. Once you have planned your route, you should have a pretty good idea of how far you're riding. If it's going to be a particularly long one, you may have to take some food and drink with you if you don't want to bonk. And believe me, if that happens, it really will spoil your day. One thing guaranteed to stress you out is if you don't allow enough time for your ride. Now again, once you've planned your ride out, you should have a pretty good idea of how long that route should take you. And I would suggest also adding what I call the f*** it factor in case you have a mechanical or you puncture or some unexpected thing happens. If you take all of that into account, you should have plenty of time to do your ride and get back home to continue your day. For me personally, one of the things guaranteed to spoil my ride is if I get caught in the rain. Now let's be frank here, in this day and age of weather apps and meteorological websites, there's absolutely no excuse for getting caught in bad weather. If you don't like the rain, then check the weather forecast, and if there's any hint of it raining, then leave your ride for another day when the sun's shining. And similarly, if you don't like riding in the heat, check the weather forecast, and if it looks like it's going to be a hot one, wait until it cools down a bit. But if you don't mind riding in the wet, the heat or the cold, then make sure that you take appropriate clothing like gilets and arm warmers with you that you can put on and take off as the temperature goes up and down. So that's all the ride prep done. When you actually start riding, I would suggest that you ease yourself into it and start off fairly gently. Many rides are spoilt by starting out too hard, and you can end up with strains and injuries. Warming up slowly will guarantee that you'll build up gently, and then you can push it a bit later if you so want. If you are riding for fitness, after your initial warm-up, I would suggest riding so that you challenge yourself rather than push yourself beyond your limits. If you do, you again run the risk of strains and injuries that could potentially keep you off your bike for days, weeks, or even months. And even if you are riding for fitness or for fun, taking a break can make a great ride even better. And basically, what form that break takes is up to you. It can be as simple as stopping by the side of the road to take a photograph of a nice view, or it can be a full-on refreshment stop at a cafe, or dare I even say it, a pub. Taking a break gives you the opportunity to recover a little bit and to refuel, although what form that takes depends very much on where you've stopped. Plus, if you're riding with others, it's a great way of being a bit more social and having a bit of a chat, rather than puffing and panting away while you're on the bike. Now, they say that every day on the bike is a great day, and I kind of understand that. I mean, I would much rather spend the day on my bike, even if it was in the rain, than I would spending 8 hours filming in a room full of powdered custard. And I've actually done that, so I know the difference between the two. But if you can make your ride absolutely perfect, why on earth wouldn't you? Thanks for watching.